Hey guys, it's Andy back here from Mediocre Hobbies, coming at you with this month's Anvil Industries video. I am very grateful to be able to produce a video for Anvil Industries every single month showing off their month bundles over on Patreon. And this one is absolutely awesome. If you've been paying attention to my channel, you know I've done a bunch of videos for these guys before, and they always have a pretty gripping theme, which makes me want to kind of get involved. One of them was, of course, Starship Troopers. One of them was Stargate SG-1. These are some of the themes that I have delved into in the last couple of months. Well, in today's video, they have gone kind of above and beyond, and they are going to be giving you awesome miniatures, which could very easily be representative of Gears of War. I don't know about you, but I grew up on Gears of War, playing through all of the games over the course of the years they were released. And yeah, I never really got over them. They're such an awesome, beautiful game system, and to be able to finally be able to bring that world to life in miniature form is amazing. One of the only things to note about this particular launch is these Marines, I believe they're called Exo Coalition Marines, are slightly larger scale than the previous bundles. So previous bundles were all very much interchangeable with each other, as these ones are a little bit larger. They are not interchangeable with other ones, but they do give you a whole host of options as you want to arm these guys with, whether it be blades or rifles or chain bayonets. You can even have them mounted on motorcycles, and they give that option in this bundle as well. Before I get into the video, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of my active patrons. You guys are amazing. Without you, I'd not be able to keep the lights on and the cameras rolling. If getting involved in that is something that you're interested in, there's links in the description below. Access to private Discord server and an extra video every single week are just two of the awesome benefits of becoming a member. Remember to ignore the free tier. It does absolutely nothing for you. Okay, without further ado, guys, let's get in and paint ourselves some Gears of War Marines. Okay, so I used my Uniformation GK2 to print out the parts required for this particular video. It's one of my favorite printers, my two favorite printers side by side actually. It's a very satisfying corner for me. I love it. And as per usual, the Uniformation GK2 gave me perfect prints. It also helps that the pre-supports for these particular models are fantastic. My favorite thing, like I've said in a bunch of different videos, is what I like to call an anchor support. I don't know what its actual name is, but one support on each piece will be like 3 times fatter than all the other supports. It's like a real, like, will hold this to the rest of its supports and on the print bed as you're going. As a result, with the Anvil Industries stuff, I've never had a failed print from them. It's absolutely amazing. I love it. Parts of this tend to be quite small and can fit through the gaps of my wash cure station. So what I do is I've got this little kind of mesh. It's supposed to be like a pencil holder or whatever that magnetized to the side of something. But I find it perfect for putting all the smaller parts in. And then I put that whole thing inside my wash cure station. And then obviously it washes all of the parts off it as well. So like I said, it's a really nice touch. It definitely helps me out when I'm trying to get the stuff done. Otherwise, like I said, those smaller parts, their heads, the hands, those kind of things would just fall at the bottom. Won't be disastrous. So I'm going to throw this thing on a quick wash for 10 minutes. And the result will be this. The majority of the resin will be removed from the parts now. And I will go on to the idea of cleaning them off, as in drying them off, and then constructing them. Now, you will notice that I will continue to wear my gloves until a little bit later in the video. The reason for that is until I have assembled these pieces and then put them in a cure station, I like to assemble, then cure. I like the pieces to be a little bit malleable, a little bit bendy, so that I can basically glue them into position right. So until I have put them in the cured station, it will still be some raw resin on the surface of these pieces, and that's something you do not want to touch with your bare hands or bare skin. So during the construction process, I'll keep my gloves on. Now these pieces have now been cured, so they are completely dry to the touch and ready to rock and roll. So here is the awesome bike that you get with this month. I was very tempted to paint up a bike, but honestly, bikes aren't really my thing. I don't enjoy painting them for Space Marines. I don't enjoy painting them for a bunch of other things. So I decided to just go with a basic Gears of War beastly Marine, which just makes me happy to look at even. Now, I went on and did a bunch of research on what the hell these guys are supposed to look like. And it is really difficult trying to figure out what colors the Gears of War miniatures or Gears of War characters are supposed to be. I mean, they're always in constant darkness. They're basically just like colored only by the lights, if that makes much sense. So it was actually a pain in the backside to try and figure out what colors they went to be. So I decided to just kind of stick with what I know and do kind of grays and blacks and silvers, which I think is very much right up their alley for tones. These guys are going to have obviously their exposed arms, which is going to add a nice jump of color. But other than that, they're going to be quite a muted tone. So I started with a basilicanum gray contrast and painted that in between all the webbing and down like the gorget of their chest armor and some of their gloves and stuff like that. After that, we moved on to black Templar contrast and painted all of the kind of like hard leather or rubber bits. So obviously they've got belts going around their waist, they've got military boots on, and then they have like, I guess they're like chaps, I guess, some extra armor or leathery bits that go around their thighs, which I did in the black as well. And a few other straps and bits. Take your time, try and analyze the miniature, you know, play Where's Waldo for what color should go where. I know the model looks a bit bizarre right now, but I promise you we will get there. It will look like, hopefully, a Marine from Gears of War at some point soon. Dark Oath Flesh was used for base coating in all of the skin. Just basically their bulging biceps and their face. That's all that's on show really. And you can choose to put on helmets on these guys if you want to as well. I put a helmet on one of the biker miniatures and that turned out awesome. Lead Belcher was then brought in to pretty much block in every other color. So there's armor panels built on top of all of them. So whether it's their chest armor, even their boots has a bunch of armor panels on it as well. So like I said before, you're going to spend a little bit of time tracking around these models and trying to find the exact right one. Like I said, this is Anvil Industries' particular bag of goodness for this month. They do run an awesome subscription service for parts and squads every single month, which are obviously miniature agnostic. They're used for a bunch of different game systems, and they really do deliver something different every single month. I'm always excited to see what files they send over so I can make videos with, and I'm always usually quite surprised. So good surprise though. I was not expecting Gears of War, but I'm definitely going to be turning my nose up at that. So I was very keen to get this guy printed out and painted up as soon as possible to share with you guys. And as it stands, as the making of this video is the 12th of January, so you have the rest of January to get this thing on their Patreon. And if you happen to miss out on that and do not wish to sign up to their Patreon for any silly reason, you can of course jump over to their MyMiniFactory and pick up the files there for a little bit more expensive than the Patreon, but that's the nature of the beast. After the model was all shaded down, it was time to obviously, like I said, layer up those different bits and pieces. So Mechanica Standard Grey was the first color brought in, and anything that was hit with the Basilicanum Grey contrast will now get a highlight. So like I said, his trousers basically he's wearing underneath his gaiters and his boots and his armor and stuff will get a little grey. Things like gloves, inside the helmet, or his inside of his neck joint armor and stuff. After that, we're going to jump over to Corvus Black, and I do apologize, the camera did not in any way, shape or form decide to focus for this entire clip. So unfortunately, this Corvus Black clip is just a bit blurry and a bit useless, and I apologize, but I am layering up all the black parts of this miniature. Corvus Black is of course my weapon of choice for layering up any black paint job. It's a really dark blacky grey, and it just does the trick for highlighting it. It still keeps it in that kind of black spectrum. It looks like you're painting black, but it's not. It's got the hint of grey, so it does actually highlight quite well. After that, we're going to grab some Lead Belcher paint again, and we're going to re-highlight all of the armor panels, including the gun. Now, we don't want to go crazy with this. Obviously, we want to hit the higher points or the sharpest details, but we still want this guy to seem quite dark and grungy. You know, the kind of fighting, the kind of world that the Gears of War thing is based off of, so I definitely think it is the correct choice to keep this guy kind of really muted and really dark. The model is really starting to come together now, and he's making me happy. I'm trying to figure out, is there any actual miniature? You guys helped me a lot when I was trying to figure out whether it was a Stargate SG-1 style roleplay, and you guys did come ahead and let me know if there was in fact 2, which I can use some of the previous months for. I've always had this idea of running an RPG system around a fairly well-known thing. So like Gears of War, you could run an RPG on that, but I think the Stargate is just such a beautiful piece of writing. Think about someone who created that show, where they just say, hey, there's a ring in a room and you can go through that ring and then write whatever story you want. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to match anything before it. Just go. And I think that's just a beautiful way to do an RPG session as well. So you're like at the end of every story, every mission, every quest, you're back in the tavern. Like, it's so clever. Trying to layer up the skin now. I started with dwarf skin and then I jumped up to elven skin using once again the Duncan Too Thin Coats range of paints from Transatlantic Games. I'm just such a huge fan of these paints, especially for things like skin tones. And yeah, I just took my time and layered up them just to make the skin pop a little bit. And with the skin done, the model is 99% done. I was at this point where I was like, this model is awesome, but it's missing something. What is it missing? Oh, I know, it's Gears of War. What would be Gears of War if his chain bayonet wasn't covered in gore and blood? So I got some vampire gore from the Two Thin Coats range as well, and I lathered up his chain bayonet on his hands and the kind of forefront of the gun with lots of awesome blood effect, which finished off this guy nicely, I think. I've got a couple of nice still images in a moment to give you guys kind of an environmental effect. It's going to be in some dark lighting, and you're going to see what this guy actually looks like. And I definitely think he ties in well with the aesthetic. Like I said, he's a lot of fun to do. I'm a big fan of Anvil Industries. I wouldn't make videos for them every single month if I did not enjoy what they do and how they do it. So I would recommend you guys check the links below. Go jump over to their website and have a look at some of their stuff, even some of their MyMiniFactory, and check out some of their previous files. I think you will be impressed. And there we have it, guys. I took my time and I painted up one of the Marines to completion. Like I said, I really enjoyed the process, especially adding the blood and gore onto the chain bayonet at the end of the video. As you can see, this particular miniature is most to represent a specific character. 10 points for anyone who can let me know what character that's supposed to be. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to check out the Anvil Industries bundle, I will leave links in the description below to their Patreon and MyMiniFactory, so you can check out all their backlog as well. I certainly have been trawling through quite a few bits of their older stuff that I don't have just yet, and we'll be picking up very soon. Make sure you give the video a like if you enjoyed the content. Ask me any question you want in the comments below, and make sure you're subscribed to be in with a chance of winning a Titan. Okay guys, thank you so much for listening. I'll see you in the next video.